I grew up loving books, and I grew up loving to draw and paint. I remember going through a car phase where I just drew cars. I remember drawing cartoon characters, copying them from the newspaper. These are a couple of pieces I did when I was in high school. I was 16. It is sort of fun to think back and wonder if maybe I knew at some level that I would be an illustrator, because that's what an illustrator does. This is one of the first drafts of Kitten's first full moon. When I begin a book, for me it starts with the words that I write in longhand with pen on paper, and I cross out and I add things, and it's sort of a mess, but I'm getting my ideas down on paper. Then I'll type on my typewriter. I use very, very simple tools, so as long as I can get ribbons for my typewriter, I think I'll keep doing it that way. From the very beginning, I knew that I wanted a black and white book. This was the final dummy for Kitten's first full moon. Black sky, white moon. I thought the kitten could be white. I wanted it to have a really rich, velvety look, and I wanted it to be square. There's something about the perfection of the shape. I was experimenting, but I didn't know if I wanted white on black. I didn't know if I wanted to use paper that had a gray tone to it. One of the great joys and big differences about doing the art for Kitten's first full moon was that I used a brush because I could just lay down a nice thick line. This is the finished art for the jacket of Kitten, which was combined with this piece of art so that the moon was behind Kitten and the type was in the moon. The first mouse book I did was A Weekend with Wendell. I used animals because I thought I could better tap the humor of the text. Lily first appears in Chester's Way. She's such a contrast to Chester and Wilson. And I like coming back to her. She lends herself to story quite well. Lilly's Purple Plastic Purse is a great example of how a writer can see something in his or her life that then ends up in a book. I was waiting for a plane, and in my waiting area there was a man and his daughter who was about 6 years old. The girl had a purse with her that made music when she opened it up. She was driving her father absolutely crazy with the purse, which I found completely amusing because I was not a parent at the time. But it was one of those moments where a light bulb went off above my head, and I had a notebook with me, and I began working on what became Lilly's Purple Plastic Purse. When I do the finished art for a book like Lilly's Big Day, I do the pencil sketches, I do the refined pencil sketches, then I do a black line drawing for every piece of art in the book. After that, I have to figure out what colors to use when I'm painting. These are a couple of sketches where I was trying to figure out the colors of Mr. Slinger's wedding garb, what color Lilly's dress would be, and what color Ginger's dress would be. And I wrote yes. With a picture book, I have words, but I also have the images. With a novel, all I have are words. But I love creating the scenes using shadow and light and color. All those things that I would do with paint or ink, I'm doing with words. The character usually comes to me first, but I think about that character a long time before I put pen to paper. I often will just write about the character. I'll write what color hair they have. I'll try to come up with a name for them. I'll figure out their family situation. And I really like to have a clear vision in my head of that character before I begin. When I write a book like Olive's Ocean, I write in spiral notebooks with a pen. I often buy notebooks with pockets, and I'll stick maps, postcards, images, anything that might have something to do with this particular book. Often on the back covers, I'll write a timeline, what happened on each day. I'm beginning to figure out where they're going, what they're doing. I never know where they will end up when I begin. I was in high school when I really decided picture books were what I loved and what I wanted to create. When I went to New York, I was 19 to look for a publisher. And I brought everything that I had that I thought was good. This was what became my first book, All Alone. I was filled with great hope and excitement. And I marvel at it now because I don't know if I would have the guts to do it. If we expose our kids to books and art, nothing but good can come from it. All that thinking that goes behind it, all the choices I make, all of that's secondary to just creating a great book that is entertaining, that a kid will love.